Meghan Markle baby trick gets exposed as Piers and Jeremy finally speak out. Is the royal baby story we've all heard just a carefully crafted illusion? A new wave of allegations has reignited the spotlight on Meghan Markle, not for her Netflix deals or royal feuds, but for something even more shocking, a supposed baby trick. Now, outspoken critics Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson are speaking out, and what they're revealing has social media in a frenzy. From missing birth records to questionable public appearances, are we finally seeing the unraveling of Meghan's carefully curated narrative? Setting the scene, since stepping down from royal duties and moving to California, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have reinvented themselves as Hollywood royalty. But along with fame came controversy, and few storylines have been as suspiciously scrutinized as the births of their two children, Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana. For years, critics and conspiracists alike have questioned the details surrounding Meghan's pregnancies. Now, with renewed commentary from two of Britain's most polarizing media figures, Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson, the rumors have exploded into full-blown accusations. Is there a real scandal behind Meghan's motherhood journey? Or are these just baseless attacks fueled by tabloid sensationalism? The origin of the baby trick conspiracy. The phrase baby trick first started circulating during Meghan's pregnancy with Archie in 2019. Observers began pointing out inconsistencies in her public appearances. Her baby bump appeared to change size dramatically, sometimes within the same day. In some videos, the bump seemed to move unusually, sparking speculation about a prosthetic belly. Meghan's maternity fashion, often seen with high heels and tight dresses, didn't match traditional royal maternity styles, which fueled further suspicion. Critics began alleging that Meghan wasn't pregnant, and that a surrogate may have carried the child instead. Mainstream media dismissed these theories as conspiracy nonsense, but in internet forums, Reddit threads, and YouTube breakdowns, the baby trick theory quietly gained traction. Piers Morgan, the longtime critic, speaks again. Enter Piers Morgan, Meghan's most vocal critic. From his fiery resignation on Good Morning Britain after refusing to apologize for calling her a liar, to his repeated jabs on Twitter and in his columns, Piers has never minced words, and now he's revisiting the baby topic. In a recent podcast appearance, Piers stated, "There are so many inconsistencies around Meghan's stories, including the pregnancies, that any journalist worth their salt would at least ask the questions. But we've all been told she's untouchable. Why?" He stopped short of claiming outright deception, but made it clear. He believes Meghan has manipulated the public narrative and that the royal family may have gone along with it to avoid further scandal. Jeremy Clarkson's explosive comments. Jeremy Clarkson, never one to stay quiet on controversial issues, recently added fuel to the fire. After facing backlash for a column where he infamously said he hated Meghan on a cellular level, Clarkson had remained relatively quiet. But in a candid conversation on a recent panel, he said, "I don't care what fairy tale they're selling in California. People can see through the smoke, the bump, the PR games, the victim act. It's theater." While Clarkson didn't reference the baby rumors directly, his comment was interpreted as a subtle nod to the theory. Fans and critics alike read between the lines, suggesting that even industry insiders suspect a level of stagecraft behind Meghan's carefully managed image. The public record mystery. One of the most frequently cited smoking guns by conspiracy theorists is the unusual handling of birth records. For Archie, the birth certificate wasn't released until days later, and Meghan's occupation was listed as Princess of the United Kingdom, sparking confusion. For Lilibet, born in the US, her birth announcement came with little documentation, and no photos were released for months. The couple insisted on extreme privacy, and while understandable in a media-obsessed world, critics argue that this secrecy only deepened suspicions. Why were no hospital staff ever publicly quoted? Why are no iconic hospital steps photos like Princess Diana or Kate Middleton? The more privacy they demanded, the more conspiracy took root. What the palace isn't saying. Perhaps the most damning silence is that of Buckingham Palace. Despite ongoing speculation, the royal family has never once corrected clarified, or addressed the allegations surrounding Meghan's pregnancies. Some interpret this as dignity, a refusal to dignify gossip. Others believe it's a strategic choice. Denying the rumors might validate them. Confirming anything would be worse. Former palace insiders have admitted there was tension between royal tradition and Meghan's requests. Aides were allegedly blindsided by her need for total control over both birth announcements. This leaves the public in the dark, with only narratives from Meghan's PR machine and the voices of her harshest critics filling the silence. The psychological game, victimhood and control. Whether or not there's any truth behind the baby trick theory, one thing is clear. Meghan Markle has mastered the art of narrative control. From the moment she entered the royal spotlight, she framed her story through the lens of struggle. A woman of color navigating an archaic, hostile institution, targeted by relentless media, and ultimately driven away by forces beyond her control. This narrative resonated with millions, especially in the modern age of social justice, representation, and cultural reckoning. In interviews, most notably with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan cast herself not merely as misunderstood, but actively oppressed. Marginalized for her race, silenced by the firm, and emotionally battered by a system that refused to protect her. But with that framing came a powerful side effect: the creation of a binary moral landscape. You were either with Meghan, believing her, supporting her, defending her, or you were against her, cast as part of the very machinery of hate she claimed to escape. This is where the psychological game becomes more complex, weaponizing victimhood. By positioning herself as a victim, Meghan tapped into a powerful modern archetype, one that commands empathy, deflects criticism, and delegitimizes opposition. Any scrutiny of her actions, whether about the baby timeline, inconsistencies in her interviews, or the treatment of royal staff, is easily reframed as an attack on a marginalized woman's truth. Figures like Piers and Jeremy Clarkson, who raise hard questions, are swiftly labeled as misogynists, racists, or bitter old men clinging to outdated values. Whether one agrees with their tone or not, the substance of their critiques is often overshadowed by their perceived bias, allowing Meghan to sidestep direct accountability, control through silence, and selective exposure. What's more, Meghan's team has adopted a media strategy rooted in selective storytelling. She gives interviews to carefully chosen outlets, maintains tight control over how her narrative is presented, and limits access to her private life, all while accusing the press of overreach. This controlled exposure reinforces her victimhood status